Welcome everyone. My name is Charles Besancon, and I'm the chair of the Protected Area Finance Working Group and the owner of Global Park Solutions. So thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for coming in person. It's very much appreciated. This is quite an informal working group networking session. So the point really is to share information on what we're doing. So I can share a little bit about what the group is doing, and then it would be great to hear from individuals specifically on what you're working on, so we can just share some information. So the Protected Areas Finance Working Group is composed of, right now there's 81 members, and the composition includes NGOs, protected area managers, private sector business, people working in education. So quite a wide range of individuals are part of the working group. When people ask me, what is this group about? I like to say, advancing global thinking and planning for sustainable financing of protected area systems. Okay, so a little background on the Protected Area Finance Working Group. It evolved from recommendations from the Durban IUCN World Parks Congress in 2003. So it has really emerged from these Parks Congresses. The last Parks Congress in Sydney, the group had advanced enough so that they had their own, we had our own pavilion. And so there were constant sessions on PA finance happening in that session. And at this IUCN World Conservation Congress, the events for the Protected Area Finance Working Group are happening in the Conservation Finance Pavilion. We don't have a Protected Area Finance Pavilion here because this is more of a general Congress for all conservation issues. What are we working on, or what's of interest? Well, a whole bunch of things, and I just put a few bullets on this slide. The great gap for globally on PA finance. Capacity and training for protected area practitioners. And I'll talk a little bit more in the next few slides about some work that's been done on that recently. Business planning, using climate finance for protected areas is a new emerging topic that we need to wrap our heads around and see how we can uncover some of the financing that's available out there and make it more available for protected areas. Of course, there's the issue of additionality, which perhaps is a barrier to that. And then the last thing on this list is best practice in increasing funds for protected areas. So things like concessions, entry fees, how to create those, how to maximize those, how to make those the most efficient, etc. So lots of issues under this topic. So one of the things we've been working on in the last few years was a survey among protected area practitioners. And Olivier, were you here for the session yesterday when I presented this? Okay, so I'll go quickly through this. We did an assessment among practitioners. This was not about understanding the finance gap. It was more about understanding the gap in capacity for protected area authorities and practitioners to access and spend finances. So things like business planning and accessing international donors, best practice guidelines, training topics and skills. That's what this survey was about. We received 130 valid responses, and just to show you a few of the results, you can see this online. Just go to conservationfinancealliance.org/protected-areas-finance. Ooh, whoa. Jump to the end and start it up again. All right. So here's a breakdown of the respondents. We had NGOs and governments were over 50%, and consultants, and then a whole lot of others. We asked practitioners, do you have adequate financing for your protected area? And we overwhelmingly heard no, we do not. It's got a very long delay and then sometimes it jumps. We also broke everything down by region. So this is where the real value of this survey comes from. Looking at, so of those people that said no, well, which region were they? And so you can see in Europe, there were more people that thought there was adequate funding among all the other regions. So followed by Caribbean, Asia, Latin America, et cetera. The people in the Pacific and North America, 100% of them said that they do not have adequate funding. The real heart of the document, though, is in looking at the skills needed. And this is the global results. We listed a bunch of skills and had the survey respondents rate those and how important they are. And so you can see the list here. Annual budget planning is on top, management plan development, proposal and grant writing. These are the skills people would like to brush up on if there were training or capacity building events available to them. We broke this down by region so that if there was a rollout of capacity building workshops by region, then this is a way to look at what you might want to prioritize in doing sessions in each region. So in the Pacific, establishing public-private partnerships is the most important. So the 2 check marks equals most important. 1 check mark is second place. We had a tie for second place among all of these 4 items here: proposal and grant writing, management plan development. So those are all of interest in the Pacific. Each region is quite different. So in the Caribbean, there's a tie for first place with proposal and grant writing and annual budget planning. A few countries were very interested in accessing international donor financing. A few other regions didn't find that very interesting at all. It didn't rate in the top 1 or 2 choices. To structure the topics that you would roll out across regions. We also asked about kinds of delivery methods. Do people want best practice guidelines, toolkits, or do they want in-person workshops or webinars? So the conclusions from this were that this is a great opportunity to align and synergize global, regional, and national efforts to build financial capacity, and an opportunity to develop partnerships around that. Partnerships with IUCN, World Commission on Protected Areas, and with many other organizations and consultants around the world who are doing this work. Try to bring these things together and standardize a bit the approach and work together on the content as well. So that's what I've been working on with many of the people in the working group, and that's consumed a bit of time. So it'd be interesting to hear what others are working on. So if anyone's online and wants to share what they're working on, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to call on Olivier here to share with us. Any hands raised there?
Nothing to share. I'm new in this process. No choice.
What are you working on in terms of protected area finance? So that kind of stuff would be great.
Okay, so my name is Olivier Taillac. So I'm a fundraising officer for the Mediterranean Network of Protected Area, and so we are developing a strategy now to work within the different members in the network across the Mediterranean Sea to set up funding support for them at the moment. So we are looking for different options for fundings, different avenues, and new mechanisms for funding, and also private sector engagement, etc. So this is where we are now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Olivier, for sharing. If there's no one else online, then I will think. Okay. Thank you. So if there's no one else that wants to share what they're working on these days, then I will thank everyone for participating in this session and look forward to seeing you next time or online. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.